placing a spotlight on Sean "Diddy" Combs, a figure who has dominated the music and entertainment industry for decades. As a producer, artist, and entrepreneur, Combs built an empire that made him a household name, synonymous with success and extravagant living. Now, at 55 years old, he faces a very different reality. The trial, which began on May 12, 2025, is not about his chart-topping hits or his business acumen. Instead, it delves into serious allegations of criminal conduct that challenge the very foundation of his public persona and legacy. The courtroom proceedings have been intense from the start, with the prosecution presenting a case that paints a dark picture of the man behind the music. Combs was arrested in September 2024 and has been in custody since, having been denied bail. He has entered a plea of not guilty to all charges, and his legal team has been fighting vigorously, even filing multiple motions for a mistrial. This legal battle is expected to be a long one, with a potential conclusion slated for early July. The gravity of the situation is palpable, as each day brings new testimony and evidence before the judge and jury. At the heart of this case are the stories of the individuals who have come forward to testify against the powerful producer. These witnesses are central to the prosecution's argument that Combs engaged in a pattern of abuse and illegal activities. Their testimonies provide a deeply personal and often harrowing counter-narrative to the glamorous image Combs has projected for so long. The court is tasked with the difficult job of listening to these accounts, examining the evidence presented by both sides, and ultimately determining the facts of the case beyond a reasonable doubt, a process that holds immense consequences for everyone involved. The charges leveled against Combs are severe, falling under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, or RICO Act, a law often used to prosecute organized crime. He faces a total of 5 counts, including SA trafficking and racketeering. The prosecution aims to prove that Combs operated a criminal enterprise using his power and influence to exploit and harm others. This is a significant moment, not just for the individuals involved, but for the broader conversation about accountability, power dynamics, and the responsibilities that come with fame and influence in our society. The outcome will undoubtedly have a lasting impact. Among the most impactful voices in this trial is that of a woman identified only as Jane to protect her identity and safety. A social media content creator and single mother, Jane dated Combs from 2021 until early 2024. Her testimony has been a focal point of the trial, providing a detailed and emotional account of her time with the music mogul. She described a relationship that she alleges was governed by control and coercion, far from the public eye. Her decision to speak out, despite her fears, has brought a powerful human element to the complex legal proceedings, forcing the court to confront deeply disturbing allegations. Jane testified about what she called hotel nights or freak-offs, which she said Combs forced her to participate in weekly or bi-weekly. She told the court that during these events, she was coerced into having intercourse with multiple men, one after another, while Combs watched and often filmed the encounters. These sessions, she explained, could last for an extended period, sometimes up to 3.5 days. She described an environment of debauchery, recounting the excessive baby oil and the emotional toll these forced encounters took on her, weeping on the stand as she shared the graphic details of her experiences. Her testimony included specific, harrowing incidents that illustrated the alleged coercion. In one instance, she described vomiting after having intercourse with 2 men, only for Combs to allegedly tell her, "Let's go. Third guy is here." She also testified that Combs insisted that condoms not be used during these encounters. The prosecution played a voice note in court where Combs can be heard stating, "I can do whatever the F** I want." A chilling piece of evidence that prosecutors argue underscores his mindset of total control and disregard for her consent or well-being during their relationship. The control extended beyond the hotel rooms, as Jane recounted a trip to Turks and Caicos. After a grueling 24-hour session, she said she refused a 4th round because she was in extreme pain. This refusal, she testified, angered Combs, who allegedly yelled at her for making him look bad in front of others. He then forced her to apologize to the adult worker who had been brought in for the encounter. This story, presented to the jury, aims to demonstrate a pattern of psychological manipulation and dominance that left her feeling powerless and trapped within the relationship. Jane is not the only person whose testimony has painted a picture of alleged abuse. The prosecution has called other key witnesses to establish a broader pattern of behavior. One of the most prominent is Cassie Ventura, Combs's former long-term girlfriend. Her story gained widespread attention even before the trial, particularly after surveillance footage from a 2016 incident surfaced, appearing to show Combs physically assaulting her in a hotel hallway. In her testimony, Ventura spoke about what she described as 11 years of physical assaults and threats, providing a historical context for the prosecution's claims of a long-standing pattern of violence. Another former employee, identified as Mia, also took the stand with her own story of alleged abuse. As a former assistant to Combs, she testified that she was intermittently assaulted over a period of 8 years. Mia described a suffocating environment where she was pressured to live at Combs's residences, unable to lock her own door or leave freely. Her account reinforces the prosecution's argument that Combs used his position of power to control and exploit those who worked for him, creating a culture of fear and silence that prevented victims from speaking out or seeking help for years. The defense has actively challenged these testimonies, particularly focusing on inconsistencies and timelines. For instance, they have contested an allegation made by Brianna Bonabongalan, a friend of Cassie Ventura, who testified that Combs threatened and physically assaulted her. The defense claims that Combs was on the opposite coast when this alleged 2016 incident occurred in Los Angeles, which has formed the basis for one of their requests for a mistrial. These legal challenges highlight the contentious nature of the trial, where every detail and timeline is being scrutinized by both sides in a high-stakes legal battle. While not accused of any wrongdoing, other high-profile celebrity names have been mentioned during the course of the trial, emerging in texts and testimony. Names like Leonardo DiCaprio and Mick Jagger were mentioned in a text from Mia, recounting past events, while Madonna was noted for having hired Mia after she was fired by Combs. These mentions serve as a stark reminder of the world in which these alleged events took place, a world of fame, power, and influence. They add another layer of complexity to the proceedings, illustrating the interconnectedness of the entertainment industry and the shadows it can sometimes conceal. The charges against Sean Diddy Combs are extensive and carry the potential for severe penalties. He is being prosecuted under the RICO Act, facing 2 counts of SA trafficking, 2 counts of transporting people for adult work, and 1 count of racketeering conspiracy. To secure a conviction, the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Combs engaged in a pattern of criminal activity as the leader of a corrupt enterprise. This means the jury must believe that he used force, threats, fraud, or coercion to compel his alleged victims into the acts described in their testimonies, connecting individual incidents into a larger, organized scheme. This trial is profoundly important for its potential impact on legal and social conversations surrounding